Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about my time at Fudan University, which I spent 2018 to 2020, 2 years there in Shanghai. And yeah, a lot to share, a lot of experiences I had there, positives, negatives, maybe things I would have done different. First, if you guys are new to this channel, we are a community of people who are passionate about learning Chinese, really mainly in the intermediate to advanced levels. So join our community, you can subscribe, get notifications, and also join our newsletter / email list. It's in the description. Free, just a community, we share tips with each other. It's really cool to meet other people that are learning Chinese and are passionate about it. Meeting people that have the same passion is pretty cool. So yeah, you could get our emails if you just join on that. You'll just be part of the email thread. And yeah, so for this video, Fudan University. So a little bit backstory is first of all, I'm gonna wanna walk here because been sitting too long. I have been, in the year before I went to Fudan, I was actually already in China for a year. So I was at Nanjing Normal University, right? So a tier 2 city. And the backstory there is I was really focused on learning my Chinese. So I was a Confucius Institute scholar. I was on the scholarship, doing 1 year, pretty much paying me to learn Chinese. Great deal. If you guys don't know much about the Chinese scholarships, I'll link to a few videos that I've done about that, covering my experience with that. But yeah, so I was at Nanjing Normal University learning Chinese. At that point, at the end, I did my HSK 6, and my Chinese was decent. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to shift my focus to a little bit more networking, right? Help my career out. And I was in Nanjing, which isn't the biggest city. The opportunities are a little bit less. University is not well known as far as being one of the top universities in China. So I decided I'm gonna go to either Shanghai or Beijing, right? And go to one of the top universities, meet some of the smartest Chinese people. And also I'm going to, at the same time, keep improving my Chinese and network with professors and network in the big city of Shanghai, right? So all these things, I'm like, I really want to experience this. So I applied for the Chinese government scholarship, got it, 2 years. Really, it was focused on language, but the problem is once I got there, I placed at the highest level, so I only had one semester of Chinese. The last 3 semesters, I was kind of doing whatever I wanted because I was kind of fell through the gaps of the system because they weren't expecting me to finish in like 1 semester when I was supposed to be there for 2 years. But I ended up doing some one-on-one stuff and helping professors and networking, which is why I was there anyways. Okay, so my thoughts, and it's interesting because I was in Nanjing University, so this is my second Chinese university, right? So I have a little bit of something to compare it to. And so as far as learning Chinese, my first semester I was in just the final level of Chinese at Fudan University. And I had some concerns. The reason I was suspect of their Chinese program. The reason is before I went to Nanjing Normal University, I spent a lot of time doing research on what are the best universities in China to learn Chinese. And originally I was going to Nanjing University because I heard that's a pretty good university. And then after talking to a lot of people said, actually, the top universities have terrible Chinese programs. And the reason this is because they have the reputation, right? They don't need to make their Chinese program good. Because no matter what, they're going to get the customers, right? The students that come there because they have the name brand. So that's why they're known for their regular school, not their international students coming there to learn Chinese, right? Where the lesser known schools really have to take pride in their Chinese program. So that's what I heard. And I did hear some specific examples of people that were in, for example, went to one of the top named schools, Nanjing University. One of my friends, he snuck out Nanjing University to go to Nanjing Normal University to take the classes there, which is kind of interesting. So that's why I didn't choose. One of the reasons I didn't choose a great university, I chose a normal university in the beginning, not Nanjing Normal, because normal universities, 师范大学, are good for the language typically. Anyways, I started the classes in Fudan. And to be honest, they were quite similar to the classes I was taking in Nanjing. Pretty much the same setup, very similar setup. You have your news class, which is like once or twice a week. And then you have your main 听说, right? Just your speaking and listening class, which is, I think that's every day pretty much. And then you have your, I think it's just a listening class, or so I think we had total 3 classes, but one was pretty much every day, and then the others were just once or twice. They all had different teachers. But you have one main teacher that is pretty much every day for 2 to 3 hours. And the classes are all 9 to 12 or 1 to 4, kind of that setup, with breaks in between. It's not bad. I as someone passionate about Chinese, I enjoy classes, right? It's not like, of course, I'm in China on my own, right? I'm there because I enjoy. I'm not forced. It's not like to get a degree. I was not in a degree program, right? And as far as the Chinese classes, of course, it really depends on your teacher. And the most important teacher, oops, I think this fell back. The most important teacher, am I still recording? Let's see. Good, I'm still recording, I believe. The most important teacher is that your main class, right? 听说. Unfortunately, I had a young teacher, which I say young and I say fortunately together, because I think a lot of the older teachers, they teach maybe the little by the book a little bit more. And a lot of the learning Chinese in Chinese classrooms can have the reputation of being a little bit too rote and old-fashioned, right? But the young teacher was quite good. Just really, I think at that level, I was already HK 6. We were already the most advanced class. You don't really need to use textbook too much. I love her teaching style, which is just really, she just put up a blank Google Docs or Word page or whatever, and then we'd go through different things, and she just write new words and I think words that phrases and sentence patterns that she thinks are useful to learn and worthwhile, rather than just going through a book, and also kind of conversation and stuff like that. So I think it was pretty good. But again, this really all depends on your teacher. Okay. Okay, this guy's doing something. It's loud. Let's turn around. So as far as the teaching wise goes, I don't think that's a problem that I originally thought, right? That, these smaller normal universities, these good universities don't have good teaching. I think that is, I think the teaching was quite similar to Najinomi University, to be honest. Although many people said the opposite. Now, other things about Fudan University which are important to note, because the teaching is one thing and then the actual school is another thing. First, it's one of the top universities in China. The only thing I didn't do enough research on when I went there, because it was kind of a last-minute thing for me going there, was the location. I don't love the location as far as where it's situated in Shanghai. It's a little bit on the outskirts, and the area surrounding the school isn't the greatest. Now there is actually kind of a nice spot. As far as if you're talking about the radius, 10 minutes. Let's talk a 10-minute radius of walk around the school. The area is not that great. There's not that much. Not many actual local restaurants. There's not many markets. There actually used to be a lot of all this stuff before I went there, and I talked to some graduates, and they're like, "Oh, you don't have this street anymore?" That had all these, street food and really cool atmosphere. Like, nope, they tore it down. They said it was a fire hazard. They did that while I was there for a lot of stuff. So there's actually it's not the best within 10-minute walk. But if you walk 15 minutes from the dormitories, although if you walk 5 to 10 minutes from the classrooms are pretty far away from the dorms. That's actually another thing to note, right? So it's around, a lot of people take bikes. I would walk or bike. Biking is incredibly convenient in China, especially in the schools. You have the rent bikes, which are right, the 共享单车, right? That you just 扫码, right? And then you could take those. It was around 15 minutes. 15 to 20, at least a 15-minute walk, I'd say, to class. So not close at all. And so the dorm, I should really say the dorm area was not the best location, right? If you by the classroom, actually, that's actually much closer to the subway, right? So location to the subway is huge, right? That's how you get around. You sometimes can take buses, but really your main transportation in Shanghai is going to be the subway, and that is a 20-minute walk from the dorms. So if you are staying at the dorms, which most people do, although I didn't have a great experience with the dorms, which I'll talk about in a second. It is a little bit of a hike, right? You're gonna have to. I would usually take a bike a lot, but yeah, you're gonna have to learn how to use the bikes. It's not really walkable to. It is, but it's 20-minute walk. That is what it is. And other thing is like it's a top university in China, right? Fudan University. But you maybe don't really get the feel, like infrastructure-wise. I know a couple people that my classmates at Fudan who are foreigners who just came from Beida or Tsinghua, right, in Beijing, the top 2 universities, and they could tell the difference. Like, you know, they missed kind of some aspects of Beida and kind of infrastructure, and the campus is kind of ugly, to be honest. The food is good, I would say. The food, Chinese cafeteria food is usually incredible, like good. It's super cheap and it's quite delicious. A lot of options, a lot of stalls. It's kind of like a little mini market almost, right? And usually $2 to $3. You know, no, you'll get full for sure with that. The problem is at Fudan, I found the sanitation situation wasn't the best. I found snails in my food. I mean, overall, in China, some of the food sanitation, it's not the best, to be honest. But I did find some snails, get some extra protein, but otherwise, it's pretty good. You do have some foreign food, actually, you can get that's solid. Korean, Japanese, I think some Western sandwiches and stuff that aren't bad. Now, as far as the dorms go, okay, let's get to the dorms. Like I said, there's the distance problem, right? The other problem, it's not really a problem. It is separated from Chinese students, okay? Like I've mentioned in past videos, that's how all Chinese universities are. They just separate them, really, most universities. So it's kind of annoying because you feel like you're in a prison. Because they have, that's only for international students they do this. They have a gate, and you have to actually show your card, so you can't bring any guests in without signing them in. It's like you're a little kid. And they say this is for security, but I don't know. And then they're actually, before I was leaving, so the second semester actually, or third semester, I moved out of the dorms. After living in the dorms for a year because of a lot of issues. So another issue is, just to get a basic setup, there's 2 dorms in the international dormitory. There's the main building and these small dorms across the street. Not a real street. It's like a sidewalk across the way. And those small dorms, they're set up to have 4 tiny rooms in like a little apartment, super small, with 2 showers, bathrooms. Super small. Now, I say the room, so each student gets their own room, which is great, and that's where I was originally. But they're super small. I mean, the bed takes up more than half the space. Around half the space, I would say exactly half the space. A little small little bed. That gives you an idea of how small. And then there's a desk. You could probably do a push-up in the empty space between the desk and the bed, but that's about it. You do have a little bit of a patio, a yangtai, a little patio, little space, balcony. But that's about it. It's very, very small. A little bit depressing, to be honest, to be that small. I mean, I don't mind small, but that is small, okay? And I've lived in small places. But you can't complain too much because you get your own room, okay? That's huge, is that you get your own room. Other than that, there's no kitchen in there. There's a general general space. It's super small and it's just a kind of table with a sink. You're not gonna want to be hanging out in your place. That's the thing, which maybe is a good thing. I don't know, but I'm sure never want to hang out there. Okay, it's kind of depressing. The other dorm is the international dorm, the main building, okay, which is a taller building. I think it's 20 stories or something. And those have actually single rooms and double rooms. And I ended up actually moving after the first semester because I wanted to do some more cooking. They have kitchens on every floor, a public kitchen, which is I actually ended up moving there because I was a little bit I was sick of the small spaces in the other dorm. And I wanted my own space, and my roommates were a little weird. So I ended up going there, and which I had to pay. I was on a scholarship. It was not included. That building was not included in my scholarship. I had to pay an extra 1,000 RMB a month. But I was like, hey, let's try it out. I did that. It was better. It was better. You get your own bathroom, your own little space. Not great either. Oh, this keeps falling. Not a great space by any means, but you have your own kitchen. Not your own. You have a kitchen on the floor, which helps. The big downside is cold in Shanghai, right? Shanghai is in the south, where it's south enough in China where it doesn't have heating, central heating. Or Beijing, you wouldn't have this problem. You have central heating, but it also does get cold in the winter, so that's a bad combination. And yeah, so not a good combination. It got very cold out. I had to wear my winter hat. The same thing as when I was in Nanjing during the winter time. Not good. Winter hat, gloves to bed. The little Contiao, the little AC in the room does not help very much. Okay. So anyways, I got sick of all this combination, all this stuff, and just the feeling that I was a prisoner. Actually, my Chinese friend visited my place, and he said, he just saw from the outside, he's like, do you live in a concentration camp? Because they have like they say it's all for our security, but like, why do they provide so much security for the international people and like keep them like prisoners when the Chinese students don't have these gates? You know, what makes us more suspectful? I guess they're, I don't know, they want to monitor the international people, I guess. And that's really it. Not a good feeling. I moved out, ended up spending more money, and lived in an apartment the second year. This keeps falling. Okay, what else about Fudan University would be helpful to you guys? Yeah, like I said, the area is a little bit in the outskirts. So the subway station. So let's say if you want to get to the central, pretty central, there's no one central place in Shanghai, but certainly where Fudan, I should also say this is Fudan Handan Xiaoqu. This is the campus where most of the foreigners are, right? There's at least three campuses. There's actually another campus, Fudan campus, near this campus. But this is the main campus. It's going to be near Jiangwan. There's a couple actually. There's Subway 10 and Subway 3. God dang it, this thing. There's Subway 10, Line 10, and Subway Line 3, which are both from the dorms, both walkable. If you're from the, both around 15-minute walk, 15 plus. If you're at the classroom, you're gonna want to go to Line 10, Jiangwan Tiyuchang. Yeah, I think so. And but going to the city from there, once you get on the subway, it's gonna be another 40 minutes to, okay, let's say 30 minutes, I would say. It depends on where you're going. Some places will be longer than that. So ultimately, if you're at the dorm and you're like, hey, there's some cool event, there's some comedy show I want to get to, right? And it's not gonna be by Fudan. It's gonna be somewhere in the city center. It's gonna be minimum 50 minutes, right? From the time you leave your place to when you get there, probably really an hour, okay, or so. So that's just the reality of living somewhere farther away and living at Fudan University. Again, not my favorite spot. I would not want to live in that area again. There are some malls, okay, so one thing I want to say, there is a Walmart 15, kind of by the subway. So from the dorm, at least a good 15-minute walk to get there. But from the classroom, 6 minutes, you could get to to the Walmart, which is very helpful because there's not many local places to buy food and stuff. Like I mentioned, local markets, not much. Walmart has taken over, and they've taken down, I guess, some of these smaller markets. I like to go to the Cai Shichang, but there was nothing there. It's unbelievable. In China, you have them everywhere. And there's Walmart, and there's also Wujiaochang. Wujiaochang is one of the larger mall complexes in Shanghai, so that's good. It's always good to live close by a mall. It's not super close. This is probably over a 20-minute walk, I would say, to get there from the dorm, from the classroom, 10-minute walk. Okay, so it's not super close, but that area, it's like multiple malls put together, and you know, malls are great for you get some cool food and whatnot. And then you also have in that area by the subway, you actually have a little street, underground street, which has a lot of food. That's actually a cool place. Pretty cool place. It's like a little mini market. Oops, some bugs crawling. And yeah, a little bit, but not the best. Now, if you want to go to Shanghai, I would, you know, Fudan is the best university, but there's a couple other universities that are pretty decent. If you're looking to learn Chinese and you want to be in Shanghai, I would probably, I'm not too familiar, but I know Tongji University is actually pretty close to Fudan, Tongji, and it is next to the subway, so a slightly better location, I think. That is one to look at. I think it's a pretty cool place. Interesting students. And then there's also Jiaotong, which is much more central, but I heard some issues with the dorms there. And then, of course, I went to Nanjing, and if you were interested in learning about Nanjing, you could check out my video there. What else do I say about Fudan University? I mean, there's a lot, but the international department is pretty helpful. It's pretty helpful, pretty good. There's a couple, you know, those people come in handy. You have to go there quite often for various things. Okay, that's about it for this video. Subscribe, join our community, get our notifications, and join our email list, which is free. You'll probably receive email in the next whenever someone in our community has something interesting to say, and that will arrive in your inbox. So we'll talk to you guys later. I need to go get some food. I am hot out here. See you guys.